Hi, and welcome to Q Today. I'm Nate Bello, and I'm filling in for your regular host, Allison Duddy.
Hello, and I'm Mitch Vick. And coming up after the news, we've got an interesting report from Charlene VanKoughnet. She visited the Country Cuisine and Catering restaurant last week and came back with our first food report.
That's great. We've got a foods reporter now.
We do.
All right, it's going to be great. Who knows? We might go into restaurants and film people flapping jacks and everything else. In the
Could
future.
be exciting.
All
Yes.
right, good. Looking forward to that. But before we get into the news, I want to thank you very much for watching us. We've got a lot of positive feedback. I want to remind you also that we are on Tuesday to Friday, starting at 5 p.m., and then on Friday, starting at 5 p.m., and our shows are at 8 a.m., 5 p.m., and 10 p.m. And guess what?
What's that name?
We're on Facebook.
We are on Facebook.
Okay, all you have to do is like us, and it's Q Today. For the first time you get in there, it's capital Q, capital T, Q Today, no space, and you'll find us, and we're going to be posting all our shows on there. And already, we've got about 25 people following us, liking us, I should say.
It's a revolution, I tell you.
Yes, like and share, like and share. Okay.
Excellent. Well, as always, if you have any comments on the program, you can reach us by email at qtoday@qcatv.ca. If you'd like some information how to sponsor us or join us right here, give us a call at 992-3650. And as always, thanks to the Quesnel Caribou Observer for providing some of our stories.
Yep, and don't forget, pick up a copy of the Observer if you want the total whole package.
That's right. Okay, so our first story is a continuing story we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. And of course, this is over the resignation of our former city manager, John Stesic. On Monday, Sushil Thapar was censured by council and acting mayor Mike Cave for violating rules of confidentiality at closed council meetings. Regardless, Thapar has continued to speak his mind and is asking for Mayor Mary Schustrom's resignation over the handling of this file. This is after it was revealed that departing city manager John Stesic had a severance of more than $170,000, and he was hired on January 4th, 2011. Thapar says he is just looking for the truth, but council says he is breaking the rules by discussing in-camera discussions pertaining to labor, land, or legal. We will continue to watch this story as it continues to have legs and continues to change. But Nate, what do you think about this?
Well, it's very interesting. You know, in-camera is a very important thing, but also transparency is. People have a right to know. You know, when you think that it's a 1.5% equivalent tax increase, that's what $170,000 is. It's the same as if you would actually raise your taxes by 1.5% for everybody in the community. So people do have a right to know. Actually, even if he wouldn't have done this, even if he wouldn't have filed that Freedom of Information request, it would have come out because the city has an obligation to give the figures, only it would have come out a little bit later. So it does kind of beg the question, why were we trying to delay what's inevitable information? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you know, I do kind of sympathize with the idea of transparency. People do have to know. It's a big thing, as I said. But on the other hand, when you become a councillor, you are an elected official, and there are certain rules that you have to go by. I'm sure somebody else probably would have gone and done a FOI request, but by the person in charge who has agreed to these rules, then going out and doing it for the public, it didn't totally make sense. I've worked with Sushil Thapar. He's very passionate about his things, and sometimes his passion gets in the way of kind of let's have a dialogue that's calm, that's respectful, and that can get to some solutions. What I would suggest is for when Mary, I still call her Councilor Schustrom. Anyway, when Mayor Schustrom gets back from China, or if she is back today, she should be back anytime, she calls a media release and answers every question that any of the media or maybe even people in the public have for her. you know? And maybe that could be done at the end of a council meeting or sometime like that. Because then she has the opportunity to get her point across. The transparency would then be there. And what is most important, Mitch, is that they move on to real substantive issues about the future of our community.
Exactly.
You know, the pine beetle epidemic, and I could go on and on and on about real issues. This is only stopping progress from being made.
Yeah, and it's taking a lot of time to...
Yeah, so good luck. Good luck to them, and
Well, we'll keep watching it. We'll keep everyone informed, and like you said, hopefully at some point we're able to move on from this and get down to the business of running the city.
right. Here's a story. I was at somebody's house on Friday night, and some friends came in and said, "Did you hear about the bank robbery?" So this is just breaking news just a few days ago. Shortly before 5 p.m. on Friday, Quesnel RCMP received a report of the bank robbery at Scotia Bank. A lone male entered the bank, demanded money, and then quickly fled on foot. And luckily, the RCMP were in the neighborhood.
That's
So
great.
he was heading up Reed Street, trying to get away, and guess what? The RCMP came out of Tim Hortons and got him. And they said, this is one time when it was pretty important to be at Tim Hortons. Okay, so anybody who says, oh, they're at the donut shop all the time, what do you think they're doing? They're waiting for bank robbers there. And they did get him. The man was arrested, and he will remain in police custody until the bail hearing.
That's
so
excellent.
There we go. Our RCMP were working hard.
Good for them.
And
And they caught the bad guy.
and they caught the bad guy,
Good
right?
stuff. Well, next story we got, Nate, is about the decommissioning of Baker Lodge. So this has been going on for a little while. It's a slow process, but Baker Lodge is being decommissioned, and the first step in that process is hazardous material abatement, which could have anything to do from the type of insulations in the building. Anything that's hazardous or toxic needs to be removed first before the bulldozers come in and finish the job. Of course, it will be followed by a full demolition. The lost beds at Baker Lodge, as we know, were replaced by Dunroven. After extensive reviews, it was determined that to bring Baker Lodge to a current standard where maybe another group could take over the building, the cost of bringing it to code would be so huge that it would have been cheaper to build a new building. So that's why we've come to this decommissioning, and that's why the building is being demolished. Northern Health continues to explore new opportunities to meet the demands for residential care, because although Dunroven did replace many of these beds, we still have acute needs for residential care in the community. So they're going to continue to work with community representatives and the Ministry of Health on sustainable long-term solutions. So,
And
there you
what
go.
I understand is that building, the space where the building is at present will be used for parking.
It will,
and
yeah.
the hospital really needs parking too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, a Quesnel man is lucky to be alive after he was involved in a 3-vehicle collision near Spence's Bridge last week. It took place on Highway number 1 when a B train crossed the center line and slid into the oncoming lane. The accident took place, as I said, last week, May 7th at 11:30 in the morning, and the highway was closed right until about 7:30 at night. The Quesnel resident, 30 years old, was lucky to escape with only minor injuries to his knees, and 2 teenage sons of one of the 2 people who died on the scene also survived the crash. It's a sad thing. It's another thing that says, I can't wait till the whole thing is all done. Double lanes.
2-laning, yeah.
Yeah, because really, you know, big trucks, winter conditions, although this time it was good, even in good conditions.
Yeah.
You know, crossing that center line, it's only a line.
Yeah. There could be someone there.
Yeah.
So continuing on, the 2 independent MLAs in the legislature, and that being Bob Simpson, our own Bob Simpson, of course, and Vicky Huntington, are calling on the government to release its health and safety public engagement report, responding to oil and gas development in northeastern BC. In January, the Fraser Basin Council was commissioned to undertake this public engagement. This was preceded by a February 2011 call for a public inquiry into whether the current regulations of oil and gas extraction adequately protect public health. According to Bob Simpson, The Premier promised this project to people a year ago, and various groups including First Nations, the Northern Health Authority, and BC grain producers are all demanding action on this report. The report is the first stage or phase of a three-phase plan to assess human health risks of activities like the fracking process to tap underground gas reserves. And fracking is linked to things such as little earthquakes. It uses extensive water resources to extract the gas, and of course environmental contamination. So there's some really important questions to be answered by this consultation, and I think he's correct. Bob's correct in saying let's get this report out so we can get some feedback on if we need to adjust the regulations for extracting natural gas and oil from the ground in northeastern BC.
Okay, well, he's working hard on the environmental scene.
Yes, he is.
You know, it's one of those things, Mitch, where we want economic development, we want things like that, but that, at the same time, the long-lasting effects of that we really have to pay attention to. And next week we're going to have Burt deVink on, and he's going to talk a little bit about how important the environment is to our very core, our very well-being.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's very important. You're right. It's always this balance that we
Right.
have to be very careful that we don't upset. So.
Right. So, a few opinions in the paper that I thought would be really good to talk about are the two Rons. The two Rons who are pretty prominent in our community, Ron Campbell and Ron Paul, both wrote letters to the editor. And Ron Campbell is one of our colleagues here on Q today, and actually he's going to come back in a couple of weeks while you're away,
Okay.
and to fill in for you. I talked to him on the phone, so he's going to do that.
Oh, good.
And so we're kind of missing Ron's rumbling, so I thought I would just pull out something that he wrote, and he asks a number of questions regarding the city manager's departure. The gist of his complaint is that there's nothing wrong. If there's nothing wrong, why is there such secrecy? We touched on that a few minutes ago, but Ron Campbell will probably talk about it a little bit more in the future. And Ron Paul also wrote a more extensive letter to this about seniors care. Ron Paul is the vice president of the new organization, Voices for Northern Cariboo Seniors. And as you remember, we had Peter Nielsen, the president, on maybe a month ago talking about the organization. And at their last meeting, according to Paul, was a big success, and real initiatives are being taken. For example, that drivability program that the BC government has about how you get relicensed when you're 80 years old or older is under question by some seniors. They have a hard time, intimidation of the computers and so on, things like that.
Yep.
And apparently they feel that they're making some success, and I think I did hear that on the provincial news.
Yeah, and we talked about it at Q
Okay.
today as well, and you're right. There is some concern over that. It's perhaps not the broader issue of being tested, but if someone is compelled to have to take a test, then it should be done in your own community. Why should a senior in Quesnel have to go to Prince George to comply with that? So yeah, there is some important questions on that we're working on.
And you also just did the story on Baker Lodge, the decommissioning. Well, they're talking about, hey, when I first got here, there were 100 beds in the hospital. Now there's 30 or so. Now there's reasons, there's working in the community, but their argument is there's a lot of undue duress being put on people to caregive their ailing relatives, and they're not doing that well themselves. And I know a few instances myself where this is true. So if maybe we need more beds in the hospital and not just try to get people out as quick as possible.
Yep.
So that's another thing they're working on. The next meeting is Thursday, May 17th at 2 p.m. at the Legion.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, some art.
Some art, and it's called Rooted. And Rooted is the name of the newest art show being held at the Art Gallery. And it's being hosted by Kathy Allen and Jim Savage. And not only have they been friends for many years, but they are now collaborating on this art gallery show called Rooted. Kathy takes her inspiration from the land, and which I thought was interesting is she really loves gardening, and she has crafted some beautiful watercolor paintings of rooted vegetables. And I've seen a couple just that were available in the newspaper and online. Very beautiful work. She has a lot of passion for that work. She has over 20 years experience in this sort of art, in her watercolors, and she's noted that her only obstacle in completing her creative process is having time. And for Jim Savage, that's a similar theme. He was an artist in his youth. He pursued that dream, but life got in the way, and he pursued another career. And recently, he connected with a friend in Kelowna, an artist, and got some lessons. And he sort of rekindled his love of his art. And he has produced a showstopper entitled Near Churchill, Manitoba, 1957. And this work is based on a self-portrait by the artist's father while hunting in the 1950s, and it's supposed to be just beautiful. So that'll be on display. Setting the show up with the art gallery was a great way for both Jim and Kathy to have a deadline to get their art finished, make the time, and put the pieces together for their show. And it's going to be great. And Jim thanks his wife for the patience, because it takes a lot of time to create a masterpiece. And so Jim's very thankful for that. And I look forward to seeing their presentation at the art gallery.
Yeah, I went to the grand opening last week.
Excellent.
And it was wonderful. And we actually bought a painting from Jim's, and so
Oh,
we
wonderful.
pick it up at the end of the month.
So what did you think of the paintings?
Well, there's one thing to see them on the internet, but in real life they're so vibrant. There's some kind of electromagnetic feel that you get when you look at them. Kathy's pictures there's a turnip, but it's not just a turnip. It's sort of like something making you want to go and pluck it out of the ground there. And then Jim, we bought one. We didn't buy that painting was nice that you're talking about. We got another one that had to do with wells. And Jim used to be part owner of a hotel in Wells, so there's a historical connection there. So that's why we purchased that one. It was really nice.
Great.
Okay.
Nice to hear.
Okay. Now, as we promised, Charlene VanKoughnet went out to the Country Cuisine Catering, located in the old Valhalla Country Kitchen on Valhalla Road, which is just off the highway there, and talked about the food that they have there and how they're a diabetes unfriendly place. So in other words, it's a good place for people that suffer from diabetes to go and know that they're going to have food that took that into consideration, and at least it's part of the menu. And so she seemed to have a good time, and I know that John had a good time going out there and sampling the dessert. So here's Charlene.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, go.
Okay, welcome to the Country Cuisine and Catering. We are here today with the new owners, and I'd like to introduce to you Eva and her family, Michael and Nicole. So Eva, you told me earlier that you've come down from Prince George, and you thought it might be a great idea to open up a restaurant here. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I wanted to open a restaurant that had home-style cooking, where we could make our own hamburgers, make our own fries, make our own chicken fingers, implement a menu for kids so kids could eat for under $5 and come out with their parents, a family home atmosphere. I also want to implement a menu for diabetes, as I'm diabetic. And I had lost my best friend last fall from diabetes, and a cousin, and was hoping that I could implement this in my restaurant.
Well, that sounds great. That sounds great. So I see you have some great help here, and we're showcasing a bit of the menu that you do have. And I'm going to tell you, I've never seen a milkshake that looked so good. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Nicole.
I'm 24. I've come up to help my Nana open this restaurant, her dream, and it's going really, really well. Super far.
Great. Awesome.
And myself, I'm Dad of Nicole. My name is Michael. I'm here as the general manager to help my mom get this off and running on the right foot. So first of all, we go out in the locally, and we promote buying from local first.
That's
We try to incorporate that in everything we do. My mom's vision is definitely just simply old-fashioned. It's like build it in your kitchen, serve it as you would serve anybody that comes to your home. That's our motto. Our staff are our extended family here. A lot of times there's a lot of laughter here, a lot of playing around a little bit when we got time to do that. And other than that, that's the basis of what we're doing. Good, wholesome recipes, making sure that there's no preservatives, no MSG, and having nothing that's processed. Our turkey is freshly baked, our roast beefs are freshly baked, our sandwiches are freshly made. We don't do anything that's processed. The only thing that you'll find processed is maybe some onion rings and matzo sticks on our menu. Other than that, everything else is from scratch. These chicken fingers are Mom's special recipe. She does them. Our burgers are local, and we do everything ourselves.
That sounds awesome. I'm kind of excited. I can't wait to bring my daughter up here. And what I think is really kind of cool is you have a kids menu, and they get to eat for under $5, you said. And so this is their kids menu, and I'm thinking, yes, it's $3.75 for fish and chips. Wow. So I think that's very affordable, and yeah, I'm excited to come and try that milkshake myself. So how did you find this restaurant? Tell me a little bit about how
I came to visit my cousin and was driving out this way, and this restaurant was closed, and something drew me to this restaurant. And I came in and looked at it, had a vision of what I wanted to do, and proceeded to put it in play.
Well, I think that you are going to do very well. I am sure that you will get many more customers, and I'm seeing you have a little sign up here that says Mom's Mother's Day Brunch. So you are doing something for Mother's Day. Tell me what that's going to look like.
We're cooking a roasted turkey dinner with all the trimmings and ham and yams, and we're going to have giveaways. We're giving away plants for moms to plant outside in their flower gardens.
Oh, wow.
And we're having also a draw for 2 for supper.
Wow, that's a good reason to come and have a nice meal on Mother's Day. So all you kids out there, you get your moms and you bring them up to Country Cuisine Catering and meet Eva and Michael and their daughter Nicole, or his daughter Nicole, and have a wonderful meal, because as you can see, it looks pretty good. So thank you for being here today, and welcome to our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Great. Gonna have to frequent that restaurant. Looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And yes, the desserts look spectacular. So before we move on, we can't forget about our fantastic photo contest we have here. And I can't emphasize enough that get your photos in, and we'll be announcing our 3rd winner on Friday's show. And of course, each winner receives a copy of this great golf privilege book. And it's just chock full of great coupons for golfing. We're talking 2 for 1. A great golfer's handbook here for golfing in not only in British Columbia, but there's some courses in the United States and Washington. So please get your photo in. You could win yourself a great golf book. And we can see some great photos of things going on in our community. So
Right. I wish I could. We kind of said that we can't really apply. That's too bad, because I'd love that book.
yeah,
So if anybody wins out there, let me know. You never know. We could make a trade or something. that really will come in handy this year.
right. And just one last, remember, if you want to email us a photo of something you've seen in the community that you feel passionate about, qtoday@qcatv.ca is our email address. Please send us your photos.
Okay, and speaking of photos, our own Dave Sutton was at the quilting Bonspiel, whatever you call it,
Oh, yeah.
a little while ago, and wow, there's some beautiful pictures of that quilt show. Mitch, I don't know if you know, but did you know when quilting started?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you know.
Please do.
It started with the pharaohs.
Oh, in Egypt.
That's right. 3,500 years ago, they found remnants of floor mattings that really were quilts.
Oh.
And so then it continued, and it became popular as a European tradition 500-600 years ago.
Interesting.
So beautiful pictures, and thanks, Dave. Okay, now it's time to look ahead. What else is in the community? Here's our community calendar.
Well, that's it for this show. Our next show, Nate in conversation with Burt deVink. So we're looking forward to seeing that. Burt's always got some great things to say.
Yeah. And he delves into spirituality in this one.
Oh.
Very positive talk. And
Well, looking forward to hearing that. If you'd like to give us any feedback or tips or any news you think we should be covering here at Q Today, please drop us a line. You can email us, as we said a couple of times, qtoday@qcatv.ca. Or if you'd like to sponsor our show or become a volunteer at our show, we would love to talk to you. And you can reach Nate at 992-3650, or you can give John a shout at the studio, 992-8363.
okay, let's remember that Q Today is produced by Q Mag, right here.
Q Mag.
Okay, thanks for watching. And you won't be here next Friday?
I won't be, nope. I'm taking a little trip with my wife, and I'll be gone for a little while.
Okay, but I will be here to take your place.
Well,
I'll
thank
have to
you.
sit on that side.
You will, yeah.
Okay, and let's show people our mugs here. There you go. Bye for now.
Bye for now.